Kaduna State House of Assembly is currently considering a bill to strengthen the law against child molestation and rape. Panorama from Kaduna Network Center examines the essence and possible impact of the bill when passed into law. My name is Abdullah Mohammed. Thanks for being part of this program. Delegation from the West African group in ECOWAS met Mali's ousted President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta and members of the country's military junta on Saturday in a bid to push for a speedy return to civilian rule following a coup in the troubled nation. 3 members of the group delegation, headed by former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, were granted access to Keïta. Former President Jonathan told newsmen after seeing ousted President Keïta late Saturday that, according to him, the negotiations are going well. The meeting between the ousted Malian leader and the 3 ECOWAS delegation members were held at an undisclosed location. No details of the meeting were disclosed. Earlier Saturday, ECOWAS envoys met with Mali's military junta, including new strongman Colonel Assimi Goïta. The meeting lasted half an hour. First Lady Aisha Buhari has thanked Nigerians for their prayers and well wishes while she was away for medical treatment in the United Arab Emirates. The First Lady assures Nigerians that she has fully recovered, and back home she called on the healthcare providers to take advantage of the federal government initiative for the operation of 100 billion naira credit support for the healthcare sector. This, she said, will help in building and expanding the capacity of the Nigerian health sector and ultimately reduce medical trips and tourism outside the country. Executive Secretary, Nigeria Christian Pilgrims Commission, Chairman, Northern Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Yakubu Pam, has called on parties to Southern Kaduna crisis to shift their swords and embrace dialogue. Achari Maxwell reports that Reverend Pam stated this while interacting with religious and traditional leaders of Southern Kaduna. Her report.
The delegation spent several hours meeting with Southern Kaduna Elders Forum, Southern Kaduna People's Union, SUKAPO, and other community development associations from the axis. The plea to all the groups is to embrace dialogue, no matter their grievances, and find a common ground to broker peace through forgiveness, sincere reconciliation, and above all, love.
The first thing is, let's stop firing each other at this point. Let's cease the fires so that we'll be able to think well and fashion well.
For the representatives of the people of Southern Kaduna, reconciliation is a way forward to sustainable peace in the area and beyond.
We are ready to cooperate with the government so that if we do that and help the government will also help us.
What is the first solution is to return the people back to their communities and resettle them, and then go a step further by apprehending the perpetrators, fish them out, and bring them to justice.
As part of the peace-building process in Southern Kaduna, a peace summit for stakeholders is on the way. In Kaduna, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
The daily confirmed cases of COVID-19 has increased, with Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, announcing 601 new cases recorded on the 22nd of August 2020. The 601 new cases were reported from 21 states, with Lagos State having the highest figure of 404 new cases. This is followed by FCT with 37, Oyo 19, Ondo 14, Abia, Enugu and Kaduna have 13 new cases each. Edo and Kano recorded 12 new cases each, Kwara 11, Ebonyi 10, Nasarawa 7, and Ogun 6, while Osun, Delta, and Niger states have 5 new cases each. Plateau and Bayelsa State recorded 4 new cases each. Katsina has 3, while Ekiti and Imo recorded 2 new cases each. With these new cases, Nigeria has a total of 51,905 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Out of this number, 38,767 were discharged, while 997 of the patients died of the virus. The Economic Community of West African State, ECOWAS, as part of its humanitarian services to member states, has donated about 4,000 tons of grains to the Nigerian government to cushion the effect of coronavirus pandemic. Yahanasu Hassanbaro reports that the food items received by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs in Kano will be distributed to vulnerable across the country.
The establishment of the ECOWAS Regional Food Security Reserve in 2013 is aimed at complementing the efforts of member states to provide diversified rapid food and nutritional assistance. This is often actualized through the harmonized framework for identifying risk areas and vulnerability among member states. Nigeria qualified for the benevolence following recent vulnerability survey, which indicates that more than 7 million people are currently in difficult food situation, including internally displaced persons and children affected by malnutrition. It is therefore to cushion the hardship faced by this most vulnerable group that ECOWAS Commission deemed it fit to donate grains through its emergency fund with the support of European Union.
The ECOWAS continue this operation because it's very, very important for our responsibility. 3
ministers were on hand to receive the items on behalf of Nigerian government.
This initiative clearly demonstrates the responsibility and support that the ECOWAS Commission has shown and continues to show for its citizens.
Nigeria has taken notice of the kind gesture by ECOWAS. We rest assured that the 3,999 metric tons of cereals will be distributed to vulnerable.
And so we're going to sit down, come up with a plan and a structure that's going to do this distribution.
Other member states that have so far benefited from the Regional Security Reserve are Burkina Faso, the Republics of Niger, and Mali. In Kano, Yahanasu Hassanbaro, NTA News.
1,000 vulnerable citizens of Kaduna State are set to start enjoying access to free healthcare services. This is equal to the distribution of identity cards to a phase of beneficiaries under the state contributory health scheme. Majuma Adamu reports.
Unhindered access to qualitative healthcare services to all residents of Kaduna State is one of the goals of the Nasir El-Rufai administration. To achieve this, government came up with a program under the Kaduna State Contributory Health Management Authority, where children from 0 to 5 years, the disabled, the aged and pregnant women who have been enrolled into the free medical scheme of the government will continue to access healthcare services totally free of charge. Fatima Sani, a resident of Rigasa in Igabi local government area, a beneficiary of the scheme, has been battling with tuberculosis and high blood pressure. She heaved a sigh of relief upon receiving her identity card, especially in the scheme.
May God continue to bless this governor over what he has done for us.
This is a welcome development, and inshallah, all the people in Kaduna State are going to benefit this program.
Commissioner for Humanitarian Services and Social Development says the state government has also made arrangements to cater for those whose health condition goes beyond the primary health care units.
We want to reduce maternal mortality, and we want to ensure that people have access to this health services. So health insurance is very key, and it is very important. If we want to bring service to the people, actually we also look at those primary health care centers that have been upgraded and renovated and equipped, so that these people can just, I'm sure, a walking distance, and they can access this service.
Kaduna State government dedicates 1% of its entire revenue to power the scheme, which is facilitated by the 255 primary healthcare centers across the state. In Kaduna, Majama Adamu, NTA News.
We'll take a breath now. The program continues shortly. Don't go away.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
Thanks for being there. Legislators in Kaduna State are set to amend existing laws under which the act of rape and child molestation are punishable. It is against this backdrop that the wife of the state governor, Aisha Omi Arufai, made a submission to the State House of Assembly. Let's join Amina Said Abubakar for details of this report.
The Kaduna State House of Assembly had called for a public hearing on a bill to amend Section 258 of the Principal Law in order to make it more effective. Ahead of this hearing, the wife of the Kaduna State Governor, Aisha Ummi El-Rufai, made her contributions. She said she was worried by the prevalence of child molestation and rape, urging the legislators to strengthen the law. The Speaker, Kaduna State House of Assembly, Yusuf Zailani, promised speedy deliberation and passage of the bill.
We need to move fast, finish this bill in time. Committee headed by two powerful members. I know they are not going to compromise anything. They will give us the best among the best.
The House of Assembly is going to do the best to see that we pass this bill accordingly and in the right time.
The House leadership says this is the first time they are receiving the wife of a sitting governor, making a case for the protection of the rights of women and children. In Kaduna, Amina Saidu Abubakar, NTA News.
And I have with me in the studio the wife of the governor of Kaduna State, Aisha Omi El-Rufai, who's going to talk to us on her presentation to the State House Assembly earlier in the week. Thanks for coming to our studios.
Thank you.
I would like you to start by explaining to us details of what you have been able to present to the State House of Assembly earlier, a week before now.
So I presented to the Speaker and his members some very vivid pictures of some of the atrocities and damages done to our children. I showed vivid pictures of a little boy who was raped serially until he had maggots coming out of his private parts, of a 3-month-old little girl whose intestines and internal organs had been damaged terribly. So I presented the vivid scenario to them, and I appealed to them to help us in fast-tracking and expediting the passage of the amendment, which I know that the governor has worked very thoroughly on with his team, for us to have extremely severe deterring punishments on perpetrators of rape and sexual violence and gender-based violence across the crimes. So it was to request for a speedy and expedited passage of the amendment that has been made on the laws.
What are your expectations? What kind of response did you get from the members of the State House of Assembly?
We got a very good response, and I'm happy to say that the Speaker assured us that with this incoming week, hopefully by Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll be able to get the completed amended bill that we have been seeking for by the grace of God.
I know apart from that presentation that you have made to the State House of Assembly, you've been going to communities to sensitize members of the communities about what they need to do, especially in terms of reporting cases of sexual, gender-based violence.
Yes.
Tell us your experience. What have you been able to see? What are those things that you have taken from there with you so far?
So let me quickly say that two things I've taken from our sensitization visits to different communities. One is that the communities are already aware of these problems. They are trying to do something regarding these problems. Some of their frustrations are things that we already meet when we go out to the fields in this fight against rape and gender-based violence. So they are aware, they're ready to work with us, they're ready to set up their own kind of structures within the communities that can help them tackle these issues. So that for me is a huge plus, and it makes our job much easier in putting heads together and forces together to fight SGBV. But sadly, what I've also noticed is that with COVID-19, our communities they're not ignorant. They are aware that there's COVID-19. They are aware of the consequences, but they just seem to not take it as seriously as they should. I remember that from our visit to Turunku, we had to keep, begging the children, social distancing, do not touch each other. None of them is wearing masks. Even for the people that we had to talk to, the adults, we had to give them masks to wear for us to have a conversation. So that for me is a very worrying fact that I believe we need to do much, much more. There's so much sensitization going on, and the people are aware, but it's not taken as seriously as it should be taken.
We know in those communities across the state, we know how people respect traditional rulers and then imams, that's religious leaders, and so on and so forth. How much have you been able to engage this group of people to ensure that your message or the message you are carrying goes down to the populace?
So for each village or town that we try to visit, we try to partner with the traditional leaders there, with the religious leaders, and this got me to thinking, and we have now decided to hold an emergency stakeholders conference where we bring together from the 23 local governments different categories of community leaders, from the religious leaders, traditional leaders, youth leaders, women leaders, not political, but influential women within the communities that are highly respected, that can get things done. Different categories of about 11 kinds of categories of people that we would be partnering with from every local government, so that they help us in forming structures within their own kinds of categories where it trickles down all the way to the grassroots.
Okay, let's just take a final take. What are those socio-cultural beliefs that you have also, seen as part of what is stopping parents and guardians from reporting cases of rape, child molestation?
The first thing is that parents are so scared of stigma. They do not want to report cases when their children have been raped because they feel, especially for girls, they feel that girls would not be married if they're known that they have been raped. So parents try to suppress this. They try to protect their own perception of what the integrity of their family name is, which for me, if you want to maintain integrity, you have to protect your child to the maximum capacity that you can, and you have to even be honest about the fact that your child has been raped, so that the person, these things don't hide. The person marrying your child would know exactly what they're going into. We have that. We have the fact that sometimes even our communities do not take rape as a crime. They take it as something, as part of what the societies are used to. We have parents, pushing their children to go on hawking, which gets them exposed and vulnerable to rape. We have parents who try to, when we go out on the fields, there are parents who try to obstruct a case from being delivered for justice. They say we're related, or we know this person that has committed this crime, so let's forgive the person for the sake of Zumunchi, as it's called in Hausa, for the sake of, the existing relationship. It's so many things, and parents interfere with these things, and the communities also do not help matters, because they force stigma on the survivors rather than protect the survivors.
Yes.
There's shaming and stigmatization. So it's a lot of sociocultural practices that also add to the rise of rape and gender-based violence in our communities.
In some few seconds, what exactly have you brought on the table to make sure that this does not exist anymore?
We are pushing for harsher laws on perpetrators. We are pushing for special courts that can handle cases of rape and gender-based violence, so that there isn't much delay. We are pushing for the upgrade of our sexual assault referral centers, and even having more of them, where we can have very quick investigative tests run to ensure that, to validate or confirm that the person being accused of rape, the samples taken from the survivor can quickly be tested to confirm whether or not. This also shortens the delay that is caused by the lack of items or materials for investigation. We are into serious advocacy, we're into serious sensitization, and we'll keep pushing until we see that something gives and we have a rape-free society by the grace of God in Kaduna.
I would like to thank you very much for having time to come to this program.
Thank you.
We really appreciate your being here.
Thank you.
And moving on now, Jigawa State government has applauded federal government intervention in the execution of various federal projects to the tune of more than 13 billion naira in the state. Governor Muhammad Badr Abubakar stated this during a parley with APC's social media forum and tour of projects executed by the APC-led administration at federal and state levels. Awul Muhammad Kazouri reports.
On arrival in Jigawa State, members of the APC Social Media Forum inspected road projects, the Hadeja River Valley, Tetfon intervention, educational structures, and the Gagarawa Power Substation ready for commissioning. Satisfied with what they saw, the Social Media Forum members met Governor Muhammad Badr Abubakar, commending his efforts in keeping the APC campaign promises. The governor attributed the projects to the visionary leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari. Meanwhile, Governor Muhammad Badr Abubakar was also at some of the project sites, commending federal intervention in Kafin House Jahun to Gaya Road and at the Sulalamido University.
We are happy with the progress of work going on, both the state work and that of the federal government. Majority is state-owned, and then there is a lot of intervention also from the Federal Ministry of Works. All the work are progressing rapidly and very well, and both the state projects and that of the federal government. This is a road that we have been begging for almost 20 years for the federal government to come in to support us, and finally it is being actualized.
The projects are worth more than 13 billion naira. From Duse, Awal Muhammad Kazauri, NTA News.
Many thanks, Awal. Now let's take sport. Football fans expect an exciting UEFA Champions League final between Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain. Gift George has a preview of the match and more on sport update.
The 2020 UEFA Champions League final, the 65th of Europe's most prestigious football tournament, will be between French champions Paris Saint-Germain and German champions Bayern Munich on Sunday in Lisbon, Portugal. Both sides will be hoping to make it a treble in the season. PSG will be playing in the final for the very first time, while Bayern Munich are five-time champions. Both sides have met 8 times in the tournament, with PSG winning 5 times and Bayern Munich winning 3 times.
You will agree that it's going to be a mouth-watering fixture. For Bayern Munich, they are on form. They are in a very good form of their lives.
I think that PSG has what it takes to actually cause that Bayern Munich defense a whole lot of problems.
I think this is Bayern Munich's cup or trophy to lose. They've got all it takes to win this year's trophy.
In another development, in anticipation of the resumption of sports in the country, the Edo State Cricket Association and Edo Boys High School have taken possession of hand-washing and sanitizing machine presented to it by Pets Foundation. These safety measures, the donors believe, will play a significant role in the resumption of cricket in the state.
To assist in keeping us all continually safe.
On a sad note, the remains of late former board member of the Nigerian Women Football League and sports journalist, late Henrietta Okaigwe, have been laid to rest in her hometown in Imo State. Various football stakeholders paid glowing tribute to the former women football administrator for her contributions to the growth of women football in the country.
Always telling you to push, always telling you not to give up. Every situation, she has a word for you.
The late Henrietta Okaigwe died on July 14, 2020 at the age of 53. With sports update, Gifts George, NTA News.
A public service announcement from Africa's largest television network, the NTA.